Hey, what's going on? It's Coach Ruben with 24/7 Sports Podcast. I'm here with Coach Gio with
Elevate.
Elevate 8 Quarterback Academy. How's it going, sir?
It's going great, bro. Good to be here.
Thank you, thank you. Hey, man, we've been trying to get you in here for a while now. We just kind of want to talk some football with you.
Sure.
So, to kind of start off, man, it's funny because I've been knowing you for a long time. Like, we never really had too many deep conversations, but I know you way back from, I knew your pops.
Sure.
When Scottsdale Community College.
Yep.
He recruited me and a couple of my guys from New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And when we came down here, I always used to see you around, but we never really got a chance to connect. So by the time I blinked 2 times, then all of a sudden I'm like, I heard somebody say something, hey man, we got a quarterback guru out here, Coach Gio, and it just blew up.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wow. I was like, where did that come from? So first, before we kind of get started,
Sure.
can you kind of tell me the history on, when you started and how did it came about?
Yeah, actually, sure. I started coaching football like 1989. So I've been coaching football. I'm 54 years old, so I've been coaching a long time. A lot of high school, junior college football I coached. I coached close to 27 years. Wow. of both high school and JUCO ball, and so I've always coached, okay. Right? I've been at Saguaro, Chaparral, Desert Mountain. I mean, I can go on and on. Different high schools I've helped, you know what I mean, and right. Coached at and had good success at, So I enjoyed that a lot. I enjoyed Scottsdale Community College with my dad. That was a pleasure getting to do that, and then. He retired in 2006 from coaching, and I kept going on, and then I stopped coaching. 2017 is when I stopped doing the high school and junior college stuff. I just got too busy with the quarterback training. Okay. But the quarterback training thing is kind of a funny thing because about 20 years ago, I've always been an offensive coordinator, right. And I played quarterback in high school and junior college and that kind of stuff, and somebody asked me out of the blue, just randomly, hey, do you train quarterbacks? It was like 20 years ago, and I was like, no, I've never really, I'm sure I could, I could work with, and I was a young kid, and that was my first kid that I ever took on, and then from there, I just kind of another 2 kids would come, and then it never got to where it was like now, where we probably see 120 guys a week, yeah. During the off season for sure, that many guys, because we do a lot of weekend stuff, but that hasn't happened until probably the last 4 or 5 years where it got crazy like that. But right. I've been at this for a long time and trying to learn how to be really good at it and trying to learn how to coach the position correctly, from technique to understanding defense and the whole gamut, but. Right. So, for me, every year is a new learning experience. I'm always learning something new or trying to get better at what I do. I'm never satisfied, but, been at it for quite a while. Enjoy it a ton. And it's crazy how big it's gotten, as far as, just the guys that train with us and how many guys we've seen go on to have great success,
I even seen recently you went out of the country.
Yeah. So, in 2011, I was asked if I wanted to go to India, and at first I thought they said Indiana because I'm like, who thinks India, right?
Right.
I was coaching at Shadow Mountain at the time, and it was my second season, and I just lost my brother. My brother had passed away, and I knew I couldn't come back for another. I needed, I needed that break.
Yeah.
And somebody came to me and said, a friend of mine says, hey, they're taking football to India. And I first thought it was in. I go, what? He goes, no, India. He goes, can you go for a month? And I'm like, what are they doing? Well, they're taking American football and they're going to start a league out there because in India, I guess that was the fastest growing economy and all this crazy stuff. So I'm just in it for the experience. I'm like, heck yeah, I'll go do this, right? They had already gone there a year before I got there, and they had gone into all the different places and formed like 8 teams. So Delhi, if you've ever heard of Delhi or Mumbai or places like that in India, Calcutta, they all had a group of guys, and they brought them all to one place for a month, and we basically taught them football. You know what I mean? And
from scratch.
From scratch.
Wow. Okay.
And I became pretty much the head coach of that deal, of that whole league for about a year and a half, 2 years, maybe longer. I did that from 2012 to 2015, where I would go to India, stay for a month, sometimes 2, come home, go, boom. And it's an expensive deal to try to start a football league. You know what I mean? And I that wasn't that wasn't me. It's part of that. But you can only imagine how, it costs a lot of money to try and. So the league kind of was, trying to always get investors. And Kurt Warner actually was part of that deal. Never went out there and coached or anything, but he had his name behind it and some of these other guys. But I was in the thick of it. So I did that, and I couldn't tell you what I learned and grew from being in, that place. You just learn to appreciate what you have here so much, when you go somewhere like that, And what a cool experience, right? And then just recently, Switzerland. Yeah, I go to Switzerland once a year now. I got a good friend that coaches out there and brings me out there for quarterback camp. I was just there. When was I there? May? I was out there in May. And then couldn't go the COVID year last year, but I was out there in the year before that I was out there too. So, yeah. So, they play football in Europe. I mean, they have different, leagues and it's more club oriented, but they're serious about it. They love the game out there, and so the quarterback position's growing out there, and usually they usually they bring in an American to play that position for them. You know what I'm saying? The quarterback position. But now they're trying to grow more guys, homegrown guys, and save the money to pay the American guys to come in and play the position. But so yeah, got to go around the world to do this, I guess. Yeah. Crazy.
Man,
been all around the world, man. I've been to Abu Dhabi, Dubai. I've been, like I said, India, Sri Lanka. I mean, Switzerland, Germany. You know what I mean?
And all that to coach quarterbacks.
Just to coach quarterbacks. I wanted to be a rock star. That's what I did coming out of high school. I decided to go the music route, right? And I thought, and I hammered that away for about 5-6 years. Went at it pretty hard, and we had some success. And I always thought that would take me around the world, not throwing football, right? You know what I mean? So either way, I still got there, right? Still got around it.
So did you ever imagine that it'll be what it is today?
No, because I don't think about big picture stuff. I just stay in the day. You know what I'm saying? I try to stay in the day, stay in the moment, try to do the right thing for people, especially in this business, in the training business. You know what I mean?
Right.
And try to and try not to ever take advantage of anybody or you know what I mean? Those kind of things, which happens a lot in this deal. And I just before you know it, I mean, it's just grown and grown. And we got a lot of kids out there that want to learn how to play the position.
You do it on all levels, right?
I do it all the way down.
College,
I've done NFL guys.
Pros.
I've trained Kaepernick before in 2015. Yeah, for a few months he was down here.
Wow.
Tim Tebow in 2013, I think. Worked with him for a while. So I've done some pro days. Taylor Kelly was a quarterback at ASU, did his pro day. Malik Zaire, Brogan Robach, guys like that. So I've got to do that kind of stuff, which is kind of cool. Just get these guys ready to throw in front of the scouts. So Brian Lewerke's another one of my guys. He's with the Giants now. He's on the practice squad, but I mean. He's a recent guy. We didn't get to do a pro day because that's when the COVID thing hit.
Yeah.
But, he stuck with me the last year, just grinding, getting out there. Didn't matter who he was throwing with, and got picked up by the Giants this year. So I'm really happy for him. You know what I mean? So
nice.
That was a cool deal. So
I follow you guys on social media, stuff like that too. And I see you even have I seen pro other athletes working, running backs, tight ends, catching and stuff like that.
Yeah, so last year, Jamal Williams and Rojo, Ronald Jones were down here with
the Packers, right?
Packers. Now Jamal's with the Lions. And Rojo's with Tampa. Buddy of mine trains them. Okay, and called me up, said, hey, these guys are looking for work, every day, because of the COVID thing, right? They didn't know they were going to report back to camp. And so these guys were out with us 2-3 times a week last year. And, throwing balls, catching balls. and then this year Mark Andrews came out a little bit with us, tight end for the Ravens. Okay. He'll be back out a lot. I think we'll probably have an even bigger crowd of guys, this next off season, because Mark really enjoyed, coming out here and working with us, and he was going to bring a couple other guys out as well. But yeah, so we always got these guys out here that are looking for extra work, and when our quarterbacks from college are in town, usually in December, January, and March and May, right. That's when we try to get those kind of things happening. Right. So we get those guys around. The next level guys as well. So yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. You just been around a lot of cool guys and got to meet a lot of neat people, and right. just lucky guy.
All right, so I want to talk to you a little bit about the football state in Arizona right now. Because that's where we at. So before, I would say about 5, 6, 7 years ago, Arizona was never really known to have top-notch football players. And I would say over the last, my personal opinion, 6, 7 years, that kind of makeup been changing a little bit.
I agree.
You kind of look in college, the NFL, you got Brian Murphy, Christian Kirk with the Cardinals, different things like that. But my personal opinion, I think a lot of that change, and what helped that change is the quarterback position.
Yeah.
I think the quarterback position really helped change the landscape to have people start looking at Arizona as more of a football place. Yeah. What do you think about that?
100%, because the first guy that I ever had that went to the NFL was a kid named Sean Remfrey. So he played at Duke. He's from Notre Dame Prep. He came out in 2013 and got drafted by the Falcons. But, that was my first guy. He played 5 years with the Falcons, Matt Ryan's backup. But he was a local guy. I trained him since he was in 6th grade, And but, he was the only guy at that time, 2010, 2011, that was getting recruited, right. At that, what I mean? Where there was a lot of hype around the quarterback, you know what I mean? Right. And so then there was probably a little period in there, and I want to say about 2 or 3 years later, 2014, 15, I think that's when things started, you know what I mean? Started picking up, and I think Spencer Rattler, his deal there where he got kind of on the map kind of early as a young freshman, that's just started to bring attention to the quarterback position here. And then once those coaches came down here to see him, I could direct them to a lot of other places where I had guys where I'm like, I think these are all guys, that you need to look at. Jack Plummer, who's at Purdue, and Will Plummer, his brother at Arizona. Nico Hain now is at NAU, There's more. There's a lot more. I can go on and on. Brock Purdy. These aren't guys. I never trained those guys like Brock and some of these other guys. But that's been nothing but good for
all from Arizona.
From Arizona, right? You've got Brock. You got Keaton Slovis. Just to name a few. Some of the other guys, right? I mean, I know there's more. I think there's Gunnar Cruz, and so you go look around at the quarterbacks now playing Division I. Just Division I, we have quite a bit. But that doesn't even. Even talk, give us the what else we're doing, which is Division II, Division III. We got guys that are getting to move on and play there as well. And, there's no – I'm just as happy for kids that get to do that than get to go somewhere big time and play, because you get to keep playing. Right. So, I mean, we have kids that I couldn't even count how many quarterbacks over the last maybe 8, 9 years, that got to move on and play at some level,
So on any level, do you think that the recruiting process for quarterbacks are different than any other positions?
Yeah, I do.
Because there's a major difference.
Yeah, because you're giving the guy the keys to the car, right?
Right.
To drive the car. You know what I'm saying? Like the nice, you're not going to hand over the keys to a $300,000 automobile, which you know what I'm saying, right. Or to run your school or be the face of your school down. If you haven't really done your due diligence, and you know what I'm saying, really, I don't know, really combed that position up and down, and
most important.
Yeah.
Most important. So just you talking to different college coaches and different things like that, what would you say, to our listeners, some of the younger guys, what are some of the key attributes that you would say college coaches look for in a quarterback?
First of all, they're always going to make sure you're doing well in the classroom.
Okay.
So academics have to be on point. You know what I mean? You have to have your academics on point. If you can't take care of stuff in the classroom, how can they count on you to take care of anything else? So that's the number one, right?
Okay.
You know, obviously size and those kind of things do matter. You know what I mean? Like people are like, it doesn't matter. Well, 90% of the time it is something they want to know. Is he really that tall? Is he, you know what I mean? Like those kind of things. And, you know, so your size, you know, those intangibles, some guys that don't have the size, you make it up with other athletic, you know, you make it up on the quickness end or the speed, you know, dual threat type of guys. So, but I would say that those are all things that people do pay attention to, you know, your size, you know, can he run a little bit? Is he mobile? Is he accurate? You know, as far as the throwing goes, but you're talking your school, and then you're talking what kind of person he is. Is he a good leader? You know what I'm saying? Is he reliable? Can we count on him? You know what I'm saying? Is he, and I always get asked about how they are when they're around, you know, at workouts, how they act. Do they work hard? Do they, you know, are they there to take it serious? Are they there to have a social hour? But, you know, I mean, I think those are, it's a position that it gets highly scrutinized, you know, as you know, as a recruiter, as a coach recruiting that position, you got to, you know, you're going to do your homework on a kid, you know, and you got to have a lot of things going your way. I mean, I'm a D1 guy. I mean, well, you know, the film will tell whether we're, you know, if you're a D1 guy, they normally will find you. Right. You know what I'm saying?
So with saying that, you don't think, I would say, especially at the quarterback position, does the school they chose to go to, does that make a big difference?
Not all the time. No. I don't think so. No, because you got two kids from Gilbert, right? Jack and Will Plummer, that you know, both started, you know, in the Power 5 conferences, and they went to Gilbert High School, right? You know what I mean? Right. So, you have two guys out of Higley right now. You had Spencer Brash and Kai Milner that both went to Cal. You know, Spencer's since transferred to Cal Poly, but you have Ty Thompson. He went to Mesquite. You know, I've worked with Ty. He's at Oregon now, right? So you had Keaton Slovis that played at Desert Mountain. He's at USC. So you know what I mean? So I don't think, you know, that is the end-all, be-all. You got to play at this school or nothing good's going to happen. But I do think you need an opportunity to be able to showcase, you know, your skills as a quarterback. You got to make sure, you know. I have a kid right now at North that's a freshman. Everyone's like, North? I'm like, yeah. He's playing for a friend of mine that I coached, and Mark Mejia, who I coached as a young in '96. Mark's over there. And I've known he was, but they quit the JUCO stuff, right?
That's right, yeah.
And so we sent this kid over there, Luke, who's 6'4", as a freshman. You know what I'm saying? He's got all these things already going for him, you know, and we're like, hey, you don't need to go bang your head at these other places. If, you know, you could probably go over there, be a 3 or 4 year starter. And when the scouts come into town, or a lot of the guys come in, they'll call me, hey, Gio, where do I need to go? They do a lot. Like, what schools do I need to go to? I'm here. Where should I hit? You know? And I'll tell them, go to North. And they'll go. You know, they'll go over there and take a look at the kid. Or I'll say, go to Mesquite or go to Sunny Slope. Right. How do you think they, you know, we're over there watching Nico, right? They would have never thought they got off the plane and go to Sunny Slope. Right. Ironwood, Will Haskell, right? So, I mean, those were all things that I was able to help with, like, hey, go to this school, right? I got a guy here, I got a guy here. And they go over there and they work them out, and, you know, they watch them at practice and watch how they are. And so, yeah, I mean, that's a big part of the process for me is if I can help you in any way, shape, or form, I'm going to help, you know what I mean? But you know which guys kind of have what the other guys are looking for right off the bat. You kind of know, you know, as you go deeper into this thing, and the more time I spend around a guy, I'm like, yeah, he's probably a D1 guy. Oh, he's probably a D2 guy. He's probably,
so with that being said, so if a parent's coming to sign a kid up and do, you know, participate in your quarterback academy, how's that conversation with that parent? Like,
I don't ever make any promises or guarantees to anybody about anything. You know what I mean? Ever. I can't tell anybody. I don't have a crystal ball. You know what I mean? But what I could tell you is I'm gonna make you better. I'm gonna make you a better player. Whether you want to be the starter on your youth team or the starter on your middle school team, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or you want to be the freshman quarterback next year. We're gonna do everything we can to make you better, right? To have that opportunity, and that's all I can do. And at that point, if things start cooking for you, right? And you kind of see, holy crap, this guy's got a chance, right? That's when I can, as far as the D1 stuff goes, right? But as far as the D2, D3 schools, I've had conversations plenty of times with parents where it's like, you know, hey, more likely this is what you're looking at, but there's no shame in that.
That's
you know what I mean?
But it's kind of crazy though, man. You know, and I don't want to name drop, but I know of other quarterback coaches that, you know, promise kids,
sure,
like, you know, you come here, I'll make sure this, I'll make sure that, spend all this money, do all this, and then when that time comes, it's like, well,
right. It's just
you don't have nothing for them.
You gotta be super careful with you know. I can tell you what, you don't pay me other than when you see me to train that day. You know what I'm saying? There's no packages. You know what I mean? Like a year package, you know, and I guarantee you this or that. No, never has been, never will be. My price stayed the same for 15, 20 years. You know what I'm saying?
And I think
honestly, that's why I have the numbers.
Yeah.
And that's why people come, because they know we're not in it for that. I mean, I'm sure I could easily just be exclusive and go find those rich parents, 5 or 6 of them every year, that would pay me an absurd amount of money, and I can lie to them the whole time about how good their son might be, and you know, and I'm, you know what I mean. But that's not doing a service to. Think of all the other kids that I wouldn't be able to train,
to service,
or some of these guys that train with us. You know, they don't have the money. That doesn't matter. We still help them out. You know what I'm saying? If you can't afford it, that's all right. We'll get you in there. We'll scholarship. We'll work with you. You know what I mean? So.
And I think that's what makes you different, man. And honestly, like I said, you know, I'm not a quarterback guru, but I can, you know, even with, you know, personally on my teams, I've had my last 3 years of quarterbacks come from you.
That's awesome.
You know, Nico, I've had Will Haskell.
Sure.
You know, Chase Pope, and
yeah.
all of them that come to me is like, oh yeah, I got to go see Coach Gio. So obviously you're doing something right, you know, and all of their parents talk highly of you, consistent. I'd be like, oh, I know Coach Gio, you know. So, you know, man, congratulations.
Wow.
Man, you're doing an awesome job. I think everybody in the state of Arizona and around see it, and that's why you continue to grow. So much love to that. Before I let you go, I have a couple more questions.
Sure.
All right. So they have this thing going around where people say 7-on-7 is not real football. So when we're looking at it, I want to strictly talk about from the quarterback position, okay? Do you think 7-on-7 help quarterbacks? And if so, in what manner?
Okay. This is, you know, if you ask any major college football coach what they think of it, they'd probably tell you that it can help you and it can hurt you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like they're going to tell you it can help you and it can hurt you. It can help you a little bit if you're really playing it as you would play in a game, if that makes any sense. You're taking a proper drop. You're seeing the defense. You know, you're doing everything. You know what I mean? That would translate into when the pads are on.
Right.
And it can hurt you because you get in really bad habits as a quarterback. Now, I don't think it hurts receivers and DBs and all that kind of stuff as much as it could hurt a quarterback.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Only from the standpoint of what I'm saying is you get a lot of scanning where guys are dropping back and their eyes are and they don't really understand where they're going with the ball. And I think if a quarterback plays on a well-coached team, right, where the guys that are coaching them are giving them a really nice plan, and here's the progression, here's the play, here's where your eyes should be, snap of the ball. If it's one high, two high, you're going to do, you know what I mean?
Right.
Other than here's the card, go snap the ball. Well, what's my footwork? I don't know. You know what,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's, you know, like you gotta, if it can definitely help kids, you know, and, you know, plus there's the competitive thing that everybody talks about, which I have no, you know, there's no doubt, you know, that gets competitive, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, I like that. Anytime you can compete, you know, you're getting better, right?
Right.
So, but I just think, I tell my guys all the time, you got to make sure you're not getting lazy. Make sure you're not, you know what I mean? That you're not just out there going through the motions, or, you know, or you're scooting back up to the line of scrimmage to throw it. You'd have been sacked.
Right.
You know, I think there's things that are out there with 7-on-7 that obviously everybody's trying to improve it every year. Maybe it shouldn't be 4 seconds, you know, because I think that's way too long. You know what I mean? I think probably 3.5, 3.4. Ball's got to be out of your hand. It's got to be, you know, unless you know, unless you're sprinting out or having some sort of play action where you're buying that extra time.
Right.
Because I don't see a lot of 4 seconds in high school football.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Or in college,
Right.
you know? So I mean,
really,
there's just little things that I think that you know, as people kind of tweak their leagues or try to make little changes here and there, there's things that they could implement to make it, you know, even a little bit more, you know, really realistic. You know what I mean? So anytime there's nobody rushing the quarterback, of course it's not real, right? You know what I'm saying? Anytime and then when you rush somebody from right from the side or something, I mean, that's you know, but that's. You can't make 7-on-7 11-on-11 because it's not, right? It's different. You know what I mean? So I just think that I tell my quarterbacks all the time, I'm like, you're gonna play, don't get caught up in playing so much that you're missing the other stuff, the training and working on the mechanics and the fundamentals. But, you know, make sure you're playing on a team that you're coached, you know, that's got some good coaching and some, you know, your concepts are well. And you're, you know, if they're paying attention to what you're doing, not just trying out there to win the tournament, that you're actually getting better. You want to leave there getting better. You know what I'm saying? As a quarterback, you know what I mean? So, there's definitely some pluses to, you know, and just as much as it could be, like you said, there could be parts of it that, you know, shoot, you know, we're getting worse because we're not doing our footwork right and all this kind of. But there's other, you know, so
like you said, so I guess the best thing to look at it is, you know, for coaches, is if you want, especially from the quarterback position, you know, if you're really there to help this guy and to develop him,
right,
you know, it has to be more than you just winning a tournament.
I truly believe that, because I'll tell you something funny. So the last 2 years I've coached a youth Firebird football team, 10U last year, and we moved up to 11U. State champs 2 years in a row. We just won this championship again on Saturday. My 11U's unweighted. My quarterback this year was 100. This is an 11-year-old. Mm-hmm. We threw the ball 148 times. That's a lot for youth football, right? For 11 years. Completed 100 passes. That's 70%. He threw 30 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Okay? As an 11-year-old. That's tackle, 11-on-11 rushing. We've gone in and played some 7-on-7 tournaments and got smoked. You know what I'm saying? And got beat by teams that's all they do is do that. And that's where you'll get me to say, it ain't real. Come play me with pads and we'll put a beating on you. Because it's different.
Right.
You know what I mean? And people are like, why don't you guys play a lot? Because it's really probably not going to, our stuff isn't designed, it's, you know what I mean? We're not coming up with a 7-on-7 playbook. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, I mean, I wanted to experiment with youth football to see if you could throw the ball 150 times, 200 times in a season, and how it went. Well, we won a state championship. The quarterback's unbelievable. This 11-year-old. He was a 70% completion.
Can you give us his name?
Yeah, Jake Pilarczyk. He's a stud, 11-year-old. I've had him for 2 years. I started training this kid when he was 5, so I've never trained a kid that early. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I coached the team last year is because it was COVID. There was nothing to do. Right. And they said, hey, Jake's the quarterback. I'm like, all right, I'll come help. Right. And they're only 10. And our play calls are like a college play call. So it's like Black Right, River Macho, Daytona X Shallow T Rail. That's what we're calling with 11-year-olds. Wow. And they're running it. They understand the river call and the macho calls, the pass protection call. They understand the formation. They understand where they're supposed to be on their landmarks, on the routes. Jake understands if it's man coverage, what side he's going to. If it's zone coverage, what side he's going to. And nobody has a chance. 2 weeks ago in the semifinals, he was 24 for 32 for 291 and 4 touchdowns in a youth game, in an 11-year-old game.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why, like I've been hey, you guys need to come play. Well, we'll come play in a couple tournaments. You're probably going to beat us. Right. And everybody wants to beat us, because it's Gio, and but we'll play you with 11 on 11. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's a little different, right? You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to go and design a whole playbook to win a tournament. Like you said, I want my guy to get better. Right? So as long as he's getting better, if he can go play in that tournament and see things, see things a little clearer picture because he doesn't have the lineman in front of him, and he can see that and he can process information, then it's a benefit, right? Then he's learning. But if he's just got a card up there and doesn't really, and coach, here's the play, and the kid just drops back and he's looking around and you know what I mean? That doesn't help anybody. Right. You know what I mean? That doesn't help him at least. But he then with about 3.4 seconds gone, he chucks it down the middle and you catch it. You're sacked. you know what I mean? Right. But that's the other thing I worry about. It's like just the biggest thing with 7-on-7 with my quarterbacks. I'm like, don't throw the ball late. With time running, because you can't do that for real, right? Just eat it. Right. That's why if the clock sometimes might be a little bit faster, they might pull that trigger a little bit quicker. You know what I'm saying? And get that ball out of their hand.
Right. So last couple questions. So I know you said that you call in like college professional players with 11-year-olds. So with your training, is it more than just the physical? Do you?
Yeah,
are you doing X's and O's?
Yeah, we do X's and O's and.
Yeah, and you're doing that from youth.
Yeah, we start with the young guys. We were doing a lot of it before COVID hit, and then obviously we couldn't be in the classrooms, and for that time period there. So a lot of the guys in high school will come over to the house during the week, during game week, sit down with me, go over, show me what they're doing. We'll look at some film, talk about what they're going to be seeing, so I can help the guys out like that. But like in the off season coming up now, we will be offering. Yeah, we'll have a couple nights a week where you can come, bring a place like this, and bring your board, bring your notebook, and we're gonna get on the board and talk football and try to teach you X's and O's and and all those kinds of things. Because if you don't understand coverages and you don't understand pass protection as a quarterback, I mean, when you get to the next level, the college level, you're gonna have a hard time. You know what I mean? But if we can teach you a little bit of that now, and you can completely understand, get a good understanding of it's one high, it's two high. This is what that shell looks like. This is where I'm going to be able to go with the football before the balls, before the snap. And why is Brady so good? Brady knows what's going to happen before he catches the snap. That's why the ball's out of it. But he's been playing, forever. But to be able to process information like that. The college guys are the guys I talk to a lot about. We spend a lot of time going back and looking at tape, and and up until Rattler wasn't playing, was playing, and then we would talk every right after the game, and I would look at the tape and go, man, you could have pulled the trigger here a little bit sooner.
So you still help.
Oh, absolutely.
Your D1 players.
They call me every week. I call them once a week.
So Rattler, Plummer,
every one of them. Haskell. Talk to him all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, that doesn't stop. You know what I mean? And I talk shop with them. We talk ball. I was on the phone with Jack Plummer for an hour last night, just talking. They'll call me and we'll just talk about. He told me, it's funny. He goes, "We're going to beat Iowa and we're going to beat Michigan State," and he was right. And he just was telling me about their defense. Their linebackers are soft, and talking ball, right? And so. And then I can go back and watch the game and go, yeah, I saw what you saw. And but with Spence, probably the biggest conversation I had him with was after the Texas game when he did get set down. I said there was one play in that game, it wasn't the fumble. I go, there was a play in that game where you could have got the first down, you could have thrown it to Nims for a first down, but you decided to take off and run a little bit, and then you tried to force one, to try to make a big play because I think you're trying to get the crowd back on your side. because the crowd had kind of turned on him. I go, you ain't going to get the crowd back on your side. Get the first down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He went back and looked at the tape. He's like, yeah, I had it right there, right away. I don't know why I didn't throw. I go, it's 3rd and 5. We didn't need a touchdown on that play. You know, those kind of things like that if I can at least talk to them, you know, after a game and reiterate, maybe they were told that or not. But a lot of times I'll tell Spence and Jack stuff. They're like, you're right. You're right. I see that now. You know, it's like they got down 14-0 with 1 minute gone in the game, the Texas game, if you remember. Oklahoma got down. You know, Spencer's down 14-0. I go, Spence, how much time was left in the game? He goes, 59 minutes. I go, yeah, was there any reason to panic? He's like, probably not. I'm like, no. I go, if you were told before you got on that field at pregame that it was going to be 14-0 and you already knew it, would you panic? He's like, no, I wouldn't have panicked. Right? I wouldn't have pressed. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I said, if there was only 59 seconds left and you're down 14, now it's time for the panic button.
Right.
But these are all things that I can now go back. Yeah, I've been in every possible game. I've won games. You know, junior college, you win games you shouldn't win and lose games. How did we lose that game? You know what I mean? It's just, so I've seen everything. I don't think there's anything I haven't really seen or experienced. And so if I can share that, you know what I'm saying? If I can share that perspective with the guys of like, hey, next time you're down early, forget about it. You got 59 minutes left, man. You think they're going to score a touchdown every minute? You know what I'm saying? They're not. You know, you know. So those are the things that I love to do. I'll talk to the high school guys too. You know, they'll send me their tape. I'll look at it, and you know, the one thing I will tell guys that are making their highlight tapes, man, make tapes of you. You know, obviously making plays. You know, and being a playmaker, but you know, don't. Make sure you're getting throws in there where you're throwing on schedule. I see so many highlight tapes where kids they're just running around the whole time, and they could have thrown the ball, like right when they caught it, they could have got the ball out of their, you know, like what are you looking like? Coaches see that, like why is he running around every single play? And it might be a spectacular play, right? But make sure that you know you're putting those plays on there that you're staying, you know, the slant on time and the out route on time.
So those coaches are looking more. Not more or less along the athletic plays, you running around, but more of, you know, an hour when you're breaking on the post. Right. When you're breaking on the
I'm
slant.
just as impressed with that, with the, you know, it comes out of the break, boom, ball's on him, than I am when you're running around. You know what I'm saying? And extending plays. I guess the biggest thing, like I said, I see when I watch all these, especially young kids, right, it's like they're never thrown on time. They catch the ball, and I don't even know if they know what their footwork is, right? And then they drop around a little bit, and then they scramble, and then they throw. And I think the biggest thing for young quarterbacks to learn how to do is to and I talk about it with our guys that train with us, is to get the ball where it's supposed to be on time. You know what I'm saying? Understand what your footwork is. Understand where the ball's supposed to, you know, all those kind of things. And I know that I got off on a little tangent there, but I was just thinking about – you know, because I get asked about highlight tapes a lot. What should I put on my highlight tape? And well, you want to put those flashy plays up front because that that coach is going to watch that for 30 seconds, right? And so after 30 seconds, he's going to go, let me see more. Right. You know, and so that 30 seconds better pop a little bit. But my biggest, you know, so I do so much, like I said, as far as trying to help the guys not only with their highlight tape, you know, trying to put on your stuff and X's and O's and you know, proper mechanics and, you know, just we cover everything as much as we can.
So to finish off, I know you have your camp coming up on January 8th and 9th.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about what exactly are you going to be doing at the camp? What is so different from the camp than your regular thing? I know you have kids coming from all over the states to come to that camp.
Well, you know, I train guys every single day. I just came from training, you know, some young kids right now because the high school guys are busy. Right. So I train guys every day, you know, a lot of one-on-ones during the week because like I said, because there's a lot of the kids still playing. And then we do some weekend stuff, you know, that are the more group-oriented stuff, and we go to a couple different parts of town to work with everybody. But the difference, so that's year-round, right?
Year-round, okay.
And I don't like to do, I'm not a big camp guy, and if you look at the price of our camp, we don't charge a ton of money. You know, there's a camp coming in a week before us that's charging $1,000, right, for 2 days, QB Universe. And I'll go ahead and put them on blast. And then there's $1,400 package. What are you getting for $1,400? The guy coming to your house and mowing your lawn? You know what I'm saying? Every week. I mean, you know why it's that expensive? Because they got to fly everybody around to get to the camp. You know what I'm saying? You're paying for their hotel. That's what you're paying for. You're not paying for training.
Right.
You know, in a way. So every time I'm asked to do a camp, I'm like, man, I do it. We run camps every week, basically, with the amount of kids we have out there. You know. But then the guy that does my marketing is like, no, you know, it's good. You can get all the kids that don't see one another. A guy from Peoria that never seen the kid from Queen Creek, and then they can all come together for those 2 days. Right. And what's different about it is I bring in some other coaches from around the country to help, guys that I respect, you know, guys that do a great job coaching. They come in and help, and then we bring in all the guys that are in college, you know, or going to be in college. So we'll probably have close to 22 guys, college of our guys back, helping us out at this camp. You'll have Rattler, you'll have the Plumbers, you'll have Kai Milner, you'll have Ty, you know, you'll have all these kids that'll be back, and they work a station and they coach the kids. You know what I'm saying? And so you get to spend that station with him, getting that knowledge that he got from. I'm like, give them something that you know, give them a concept you guys have worked on at Cal, or give them something at Purdue, you know, give them a drill or something that will help. You know, so that's what's different about it, and that's what's cool about it, because you get to be around guys that are now there, and you're that kid that's maybe a ninth grader, an eighth grader, and it's great for the little ones because they love seeing those guys, you know, and then get to coach by them, and so it's a great experience. You know what I mean? Like we give everybody a really cool experience, and you get better. Believe it or not, we still hammer mechanics. You know, it's not just a cattle call to run. We try to get you better in that. And it's a 2-day camp. We go 3 hours each day, and in those 6 hours we work you really hard. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we just want you to get better and enjoy the experience. And we got people coming in from all over the country to do this. You know, to fly in and you know, spend a weekend with us here, because the weather's great in January.
Right.
You know, you get your 7-on-7 tournaments and all that good stuff. You know, still going on. So I didn't do it this year on the same weekend as the Martin Luther King one. I was like, I'll stay. Red Zone. I wanted to make sure he had his day right there. You know, they got their day without me having to the hassle of our guys having to try to do both. You know, so we bumped it up, and you know, want to be accommodating. You know, I do care about other people's stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? I really do, and because I know everybody's trying to do their best they can for the kids, and when I see that, I want to make sure that we're never getting in the way of somebody, you know, that's trying to do the right thing.
You guys, to me personally, and I've been around for a while, even though coming from down south, I would say your Elevate 8 Academy and Red Zone are the two as biggest, as far as football-wise, that I think that gives back to the community and really does it for the kids and help the kids out. So,
appreciate that.
I really appreciate you coming, man.
I'm glad
one last thing for you. So, I know you work with a lot of them.
Sure.
So, if you look back at all of the quarterbacks you worked with before, give me two or possibly 3 quarterbacks from the first day they came out there, you just knew they had it. That they were just that special talent that you just knew that they were that guy.
I got Spencer as a 6th grader and was like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, this kid's
like, he had it.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, who else was really, really, really special as a young guy? I'm going to tell you right now, Sean Remfrey, that played at Notre Dame Prep, played at Duke, and then was with the Falcons. And now he was early. I started training him in 2005 or 6.
Okay.
But I'm like, this kid's, and I was right. You know, he's ended up in the NFL. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
right with Spencer, he's at Oklahoma.
Right. Well, yeah, but you, like you said, when you first see him, you're like,
he got that it factor.
Yeah, and you know, it's a lot. You know, you see it in a lot of the guys. I mean, I could say, you knew Will Plummer was a dog. You knew Jack Plummer was. You know, you knew these guys were tough guys. You know, were good players. You know, you just kind of saw it. So, I mean, you know, a lot of the, you know, I guess, I mean, I'm probably not saying anything that, you know, you wouldn't think, but Spence for sure. Sean Remfrey's another one. This little guy I coach now, this little 11-year-old. Yeah, he's different. You know what I mean? He's a different breed for, you know. And I kind of knew it when he was 6 and he was throwing the ball. You know, I'm like, wow, because I don't do him that young.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there was a little bit something special about his arm at that age. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, this is going to be brutal trying to train him when he's 6, because you're throwing the ball and then you're chasing butterflies and then you're throwing the ball and you know what I'm saying? But we got to this point now where I'm like, holy cow, this little dude's pretty special. But you know what? I mean, I see it in a lot of the quarterbacks. You know, I'm not surprised where, you know, some of the guys have to go a different route, you know, and do the JUCO thing, and that there's no harm in that. You know, I mean, I did that. I mean, a lot of guys have done that. Aaron Rodgers did that. I mean, you know, you get whatever path it takes so you could play. But even some of those guys, you see him like, there's Will Haskell was one, I would say, when he was like in 5th grade, and I had him. And he had these huge hands, and he has this little tiny ball, and he can't really, you know what I mean? He can't really spiral it because his hands are too big. But I'm looking at this kid like, this kid might be something. Yeah. And he turned into something. You know what I mean?
I work with him a little bit on the 7s teams, and I was just more impressed about, you know, just his poise and his knowledge of the game. Not really his athletic ability. His athletic ability was crazy, but just the
poise is the word. That's a word I think is not used enough for quarterbacks, like you said. That poise.
Yeah, and you know, just seen it, you know,
yeah.
and it's like he's ready for anything.
Right.
So I'm definitely looking forward to him, see what he's going to do.
I think he's going to think it's going to be big. Right. I do.
So if any quarterbacks are looking to get a hold of you, if they don't know you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Instagram, Elevate QB Academy, Twitter, DM me, Facebook, you know, we're on there, you know, and just my phone number's up there. You know, you can text me directly, or usually the contact's my media guy, and my media guy then, you know, gets a hold of me, and I'm not, you know, and I'm able to get a hold of. I always get back to you. You know, I'll never leave you hanging. And it's not hard to get a hold of us if you want to train with us. Yeah. Okay.
Well, definitely, man. I really appreciate it, man. And hopefully, man, one day I think you should come back with a couple of your quarterbacks, and just really, I think it'll be really cool to have like a quarterback conversation with them.
I'll tell you what, the guys come back. They'll be here probably end of December. Okay. Like all the college guys. Okay. You tell me who you want me to bring in here, like Spence, Jack, or whoever. Kai will bring as many guys down here and have a chat again when they're back in town. Just let me know.
I love it, man. Yeah. So many kids look up to all of those guys.
I know.
Man.
Yeah.
So I think if we can get all of them in the room.
We'll get them in here. Yeah. They'll come. Yeah. Right. They'd love it. Trust me.
Definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, man, really appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming, man. Until next time.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks.